The morning sky over Montana was clear blue when everything changed. It was October 15th, 2082, and Dr. Olivia Parker was just pouring her second cup of coffee when her phone buzzed with an urgent message. As head scientist at the North American Space Observatory, she was used to early calls, but not ones marked with the highest emergency code. "Parker," she answered, her voice still rough from sleep. "You need to get here now," said the voice of her assistant, Sam. "We've received a message not from Earth." Olivia nearly dropped her mug. After decades of searching the stars and hearing nothing but random noise, this would change everything. She grabbed her jacket and car keys, leaving the coffee forgotten on the counter. The observatory was only a 20-minute drive from her cabin, but today it felt like hours. As she pulled into the parking lot, she saw unusual vehicles, military jeeps and black government cars. Whatever they had received, it was big enough to bring in the authorities already. Inside, the main control room was packed with people Olivia had never seen before. Men and women in uniform stood in clusters, talking in low voices. Her team of scientists huddled around the main console, faces pale and eyes wide. Admiral Susan Wright stood at the center of it all. The head of Earth's United Space Command rarely left her headquarters in Washington, yet here she was, arms crossed and expression grim. "Dr. Parker?" The Admiral nodded as Olivia approached. "Good, you're here. We need your expertise." "What happened?" Olivia asked, looking at the screens. Strange symbols scrolled across the displays. Not random, but clearly a language. "At 4:27 this morning, every major observatory on Earth received the same message," Admiral Wright explained. "It came simultaneously, on frequencies we monitor, for deep space communication." Sam stepped forward, handing Olivia a tablet. "It started with simple math, prime numbers, then basic physics constants, universal language stuff. Then this." Olivia looked at the translation attempt on the screen. "To the leaders of Earth, the Galactic Council of 17 Systems formally extends an invitation to your species. Your presence is requested at the Council Chamber for an emergency session. Coordinates and navigation data follow. Time is of great importance." "It's real?" Olivia whispered, though she already knew the answer. The message had been verified by every major space agency. This was humanity's first contact. "Very real," Admiral Wright confirmed. "And there's more." The message included technical specifications for faster-than-light travel, specifically adapted for our current technology level. "They're not just inviting us. They're giving us the means to attend." Olivia scrolled through the data, her scientific mind racing. "These physics principles, they're extensions of theories we've been working on, but decades ahead of our research. This is incredible. It's also potentially dangerous," came a new voice. Alan Harrison, Earth's top diplomat, entered the room. Tall and thin with silver hair, he moved with the careful precision of someone who weighed every word before speaking. "Why now? Why the rush?" Admiral Wright nodded. "Exactly my concern. That's why we're assembling a small delegation, official first contact, but with proper precautions. Over the next 3 days, Earth's global coalition debated intensely behind closed doors. Some nations wanted nothing to do with alien contact. Others saw tremendous opportunity. In the end, caution mixed with curiosity won out. The delegation would be small. Admiral Wright would remain on Earth to coordinate from home, while 4 representatives would make the journey. Alan Harrison would lead as diplomatic expert. Trainer Olivia Parker would represent scientific interests. Colonel Jack Freeman, a decorated military strategist with a reputation for thinking outside the box, would assess any potential threats. And Dr. Paula Martinez, the world's foremost xenolinguist, would work to improve communication. The USS Horizon, Earth's newest and most advanced spacecraft, was rapidly modified with the alien technology. 2 military cruisers, the Defender and the Guardian, would escort them. No one knew what awaited humanity among the stars, but they wouldn't go unprepared. The night before launch, Olivia stood in the observation deck of the space station, looking down at Earth. Blue and green and swirled with white clouds, it was the only home humans had ever known. Tomorrow they would be the first to represent their entire species to an interstellar community. Nervous? Asked Colonel Freeman, joining her by the window. Unlike the scientists and diplomats who had been preparing frantically, the military officer seemed calm, almost relaxed. Terrified, Olivia admitted. You? He shrugged. I've learned to focus on what I can control. Right now, that's making sure our ships are ready and our protocols are in place. You think there might be trouble? Freeman was quiet for a moment. I think anything this important is rarely simple. The message mentioned an emergency session. Emergencies rarely bring out the best in people, or aliens, I guess. The journey itself was surprisingly smooth. The alien technology worked perfectly, allowing them to create a controlled wormhole that shortened a journey of hundreds of light years to mere days. As they emerged at the coordinates, the delegation got their first view of the council station. HFY was massive, a structure the size of a small moon orbiting a neutron star. Hundreds of ships of various designs moved around it like fish in a vast sea. Some were clearly military vessels, others looked like cargo haulers or passenger liners. My God, whispered Harrison as they approached. It's an entire civilization out here. Dr. Martinez was the first to notice something odd. Look at the movement patterns. Those ships in the outer sectors, they're not following normal traffic flows, they're positioning. Colonel Freeman immediately recognized the formation. Those are military craft taking up strategic positions, not aggressive yet but ready. Before, they could report their observations back to Earth. All communications suddenly cut out. Their quantum entanglement transmitter, Earth's most secure communication technology, went dead. We're being jammed, Freeman reported, checking the systems. Very sophisticated. They're letting us communicate with the station, but nowhere else. Harrison straightened his jacket. Then we proceed as planned. We're here to make first contact and represent Earth. That's what we'll do. As the USS Horizon docked at the massive station, the delegation prepared to disembark. Through the viewports, they could see beings of various shapes and sizes waiting in the arrival chamber. Remember, Harrison told them quietly, we represent all of humanity now. The airlock doors opened with a soft hiss. Humanity was about to enter the galactic stage, unaware that the sounds of war were following close behind. The four humans walked slowly into the arrival chamber. The room was huge, with a high ceiling that curved like the inside of an egg. The walls glowed with a soft blue light. Strange symbols moved across display screens that floated in the air, without any visible support. But it was the beings waiting for them that took their breath away. Some looked almost like humans, but with skin in shades of blue or green. Others were completely different. One group had forearms and skin that shimmered like metal. Another being floated in a clear container filled with swirling purple gas. A tall figure stepped forward. It had crystalline skin that caught the light and broke it into tiny rainbows. When it spoke, its voice was deep and musical. I am Zulthran, speaker for the Council of 17 Systems. Earth's delegation is recognized and welcomed. Alan Harrison stepped forward and bowed slightly. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we thank you for your invitation. I am Alan Harrison, lead diplomat. These are my colleagues, Dr. Olivia Parker, Colonel Jack Freeman, and Dr. Paula Martinez. The crystal being nodded. You will be shown to your quarters. The emergency session begins in 6 hours. There is much to discuss. A small robot rolled forward. It was about waist-high, with multiple arms and a glowing blue eye. This guide will take you to your rooms, Zulthran explained. It understands your language and can answer basic questions. As they followed the robot through wide hallways, the humans tried not to stare at the various aliens they passed. Some nodded politely. Others moved away quickly, as if afraid. Did you notice? Paula whispered to the others. Some of them seem afraid of us. Why would advanced aliens fear humans? Maybe it's not us specifically, Jack suggested. The whole station feels tense. Look at how many security checkpoints we've passed. Their rooms were comfortable, if strange. The beds were too long and too narrow for human bodies. The bathroom fixtures made little sense until the robot explained their use. There was food, nothing from Earth, but items their scans showed would be safe for humans to eat. The council session will begin soon, the robot announced after they had settled in. Please follow me to the chamber. The council chamber was even more impressive than the arrival room. It was shaped like a massive bowl, with rows of seats circling down to a central platform. Each section had different seats for different body types. The room could easily hold 1,000 beings. Your section is here, the robot said, leading them to a small area with human-sized chairs. The speaker will call the session to order soon. The chamber filled quickly. Jack counted representatives from at least 30 different species, though Zulthran had mentioned only 17 systems. Perhaps some worlds had multiple intelligent species. Look there. Olivia pointed discreetly to a section where several reptilian beings sat. They wore what looked like military uniforms. They keep watching us. Before anyone could respond, a loud tone sounded. Zulthran glided to the central platform, accompanied by 6 other beings of various forms. The emergency session of the council is now in order, the crystal being announced. Its voice carried easily through the huge space. We welcome the delegation from Earth, the newest world, to join our discussions. A murmur went through the crowd. Not all of it sounded welcoming. As most of you know, we face a grave threat. The Scourge has destroyed 3 council worlds in the past solar cycle. Our best intelligence suggests they now move toward Sector 87, which includes Earth's system. Images appeared in the air above the platform. They showed massive ships shaped like arrowheads. Then came pictures of planets with huge areas burned and destroyed. The Scourge leave nothing alive, Zulthran continued. They are not interested in resources or territory. They simply destroy. Harrison stood. Speaker, Earth appreciates this warning. But why have we been invited now? What can we offer against such advanced enemies? Zulthran's crystal body flashed with inner light. Humans possess something unique. Your species has a quality the Council needs desperately. Before Zulthran could explain, a tall reptilian being rose from its seat. This is foolishness, it hissed. We should not be sharing our technology with primitives. They cannot help us. Vexmore, you will keep order, Zulthran said firmly. The vote has been taken. Earth will be included. The chamber erupted in shouted arguments in dozens of languages. The humans' translation devices struggled to keep up with all the voices. They're divided about us being here, Paula said quietly. Some want our help, others think we're useless. Jack nodded. And no one has explained what this unique quality is that we supposedly have. The argument continued until Zulthran struck, a glowing rod against the floor. The sound that rang out hurt the humans' ears, but it silenced the room immediately. We will take a recess, the speaker announced. The human delegation will be given access to information about the Scourge. When we return, we will discuss strategy. Back in their private meeting room, the humans reviewed the data they had been given. It showed the Scourge destroying world after world, moving in a clear pattern across one arm of the galaxy. Something's not right, Olivia said as she studied the star maps. Look at this movement pattern. The Scourge aren't expanding in all directions like you'd expect from conquerors. They're moving in a straight line like they're running from something. Jack finished her thought. They're not invading, they're fleeing. Paula accessed another file. And look at these dates. The Council knew about the Scourge for over 50 Earth years before contacting us. Why wait until they're almost at our doorstep? That evening, while the others slept, Paula was awakened by a soft sound at her door. She opened it cautiously to find a small alien with large eyes and skin that glowed faintly in the dark. I am Kel, it whispered in perfect English. Aide to the Arcturian delegation. You must know the truth before tomorrow's vote. What truth? Paula asked. Kel looked nervously down the hallway. You were not invited here as allies. You were invited as weapons. The Council has been watching Earth for centuries. They find your species fascinating because of your talent for war. That's ridiculous, Paula said. Many of our alien neighbors seem far more advanced militarily. Advanced technology, yes, Kel agreed. But humans have something the other species lack: adaptability in combat, creative violence. The Council races think too logically. The Scourge defeats them easily by being unpredictable. Humans, though, humans excel at unpredictable. So we're not being invited to join, we're being drafted, Paula realized with growing horror. Kel nodded. Tomorrow they will vote not on your membership but on how to use Earth's military forces against the Scourge. And they have already positioned fleets near your solar system to ensure you cannot refuse. I need to tell the others, Paula said. Be careful, Kel warned. Not everyone on the Council agrees with this plan. Some, like Vexmore, think humans are too dangerous to be used even as weapons. They would rather destroy Earth than risk you becoming a threat later. After Kel left, Paula woke the others. They gathered in Harrison's room, speaking in whispers. If this is true, Harrison said, we need proof before confronting the Council. I might be able to access their secure archives, Olivia suggested. Their computer security is advanced, but with Kel's help. Jack looked grim. Meanwhile, I'll get a message to our ships. They need to be ready for anything. As they made their plans, none of them noticed the small device that had been placed under Harrison's desk. In another room, Vexmore listened carefully to every word the humans said. Morning came quickly on the station. The humans met in their common area, keeping their voices low as they shared what they had learned overnight. I managed to get a message to the horizon, Jack said. Captain Lloyd knows something is wrong. He's keeping the engines ready for a quick departure if needed. Olivia had spent hours working with Kel to access the Council's secure files. What we found confirms everything Kel told us. The Council has been watching Earth for over 300 years. They have detailed files on every major human conflict. World War II, Vietnam, the Middle East conflicts. They studied them all, Paula added. They're particularly interested in human guerrilla warfare and how we adapt to changing battle conditions. Alan looked troubled. So we're not here as potential allies. We're here as a military resource to be used against the Scourge. It's worse than that, Olivia said quietly. The Scourge aren't what the Council claims. Look at this. She pulled up a hidden file on her tablet. It showed images of the Scourge ships, but these pictures were different from the ones shown in the Council chamber. These ships were clearly damaged, with parts missing and burn marks along their hulls. They're running from something, Jack said, studying the images. Just as we suspected. Yes, Olivia nodded. And the Council knows what it is. They call it the Void. But there's almost no information about it in their accessible files. We need more time, Paula said. But the vote is in 2 hours. Alan straightened his jacket. Then we confront them now, before the vote. We demand the truth. When they entered the Council chamber, only the High Council members were present. Zulthran sat with 6 others at a round table, clearly in the middle of a private discussion. Ah, the humans, Zulthran said, not sounding surprised. You have questions. We know the truth, Alan said firmly. You didn't invite us to join the Council. You want to use Earth's military as cannon fodder against the Scourge. The aliens exchanged looks. A small gray being with multiple eyes spoke up. It is not that simple, human. Your species has a remarkable talent for warfare. The Council races are too methodical, too predictable. The Scourge defeats us easily. And you thought you'd just draft us without explaining the real situation? Jack asked, his voice hard. That's not how alliances work. Zulthran stood. The crystal being was nearly 7 feet tall, towering over the humans. The needs of the many outweigh the desires of the few. Earth will serve, or Earth will fall. Is that a threat? Alan asked. It is reality, Zulthran replied. We have ships positioned near your world. If you refuse to help, we cannot allow humans to potentially ally with the Scourge later. The 4 humans exchanged glances. This was even worse than they had feared. Tell us about the Void, Olivia said suddenly. The effect was immediate. The alien council members grew very still. One of them, a being that looked like a large insect, made a strange clicking sound. How do you know that name? Zulthran asked. the rainbow lights inside its crystal body flashing rapidly. "We know the Scourge are running from something. Something you're not telling us about," Paula said. "If you want our help, we need the full truth." The gray alien with multiple eyes sighed. "Perhaps it is time. The humans should know what we face." Zulthran seemed to consider this, then nodded slowly. "Very well, come." The crystal being led them to a smaller room off the main chamber. The walls were lined with strange devices that hummed softly. In the center was a pedestal with a black sphere resting on it. "This is a memory sphere," Zulthran explained. "It contains recordings from the oldest council race, the Archivers. They encountered the void 5,000 years ago." Zulthran touched the sphere. The room darkened, and a three-dimensional image appeared in the air. It showed a star system with several planets. As they watched, a darkness moved across the edge of the image. Where it passed, stars simply vanished. "The void is not a species or a fleet," Zulthran said quietly. "It is something else, something that consumes everything in its path. Energy, matter, even light itself." The image changed to show a planet. A shadow spread across its surface. Where the shadow touched, the land seemed to dissolve. "Nothing survives contact with the void," the gray alien added. "The Archivers sealed off that sector of space and hoped it would never spread further. But now it has returned." "And the Scourge?" Jack asked. "They were the first to encounter the void in this age," Zulthran explained. "Their home system was on the edge of the sealed sector. When the void broke through, they fled. In their panic, they attacked council worlds that stood in their path. We misunderstood," the insect-like alien clicked. "We thought they were invaders. By the time we realized they were refugees, too much blood had been spilled." Alan looked at the images of the void with growing horror. "And now this thing is heading toward Earth's sector?" "Yes," Zulthran confirmed. "The Scourge flee before it, attacking anything in their way. And the void follows, consuming all." "Why didn't you just tell us this from the beginning?" Paula asked. "Why the deception?" The aliens looked uncomfortable. Finally, the gray one spoke. "Because the council voted to use you, not warn you. Some believed that if humans knew the full truth, you would simply try to save yourselves rather than fight for the council. And some," Zulthran added, "feared that humans, with their talent for violence and their creativity, might be too dangerous to fully inform." Just then the door slid open. Vexmore stood there, flanked by 4 guards with weapons. "The humans know too much," the reptilian being hissed. "I warned the council this would happen. Now we must contain the problem." Jack stepped forward, putting himself between the guards and his teammates. "We came in peace. We still want to help." "It's too late for that," Vexmore said. "The vote has already happened in your absence. Earth will provide soldiers, willing or not. And you 4 will remain here as insurance of your planet's cooperation." "That's kidnapping," Alan protested. "Earth will never agree to these terms." Vexmore smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. "They will when they learn the alternative. Our ships can reach Earth in days. Your people have no defense against our weapons." Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the station. A voice spoke in several languages. The humans' translation devices caught the message. "Alert. Unknown vessels detected. Approach vector indicates Scourge fleet. All personnel to emergency stations." Vexmore looked shocked. "They shouldn't be here yet. Our intelligence said we had more time." In the confusion, Jack caught Olivia's eye and nodded slightly toward the door. While the aliens were distracted by the alarm, the humans slowly backed. "Away. We need to get to our ship," Jack whispered. "Now's our chance." As they slipped into the corridor, they could hear the sounds of running feet and urgent voices. The station was moving to a war footing. "Wait," Paula said, grabbing Olivia's arm. "We need to find Kel. He helped us. We can't leave him behind." "And we need more information about the void," Olivia added. "If that thing is really heading toward Earth, we need to know how to fight it." Alan nodded. "Jack, you and I will head to the docking bay and prepare the ship. Olivia and Paula, find Kel and get any data you can. We meet at the horizon in 30 minutes. As they split up, None of them noticed the small drone following silently above their heads, recording everything for Vex Moore's eyes. Jack and Alan moved quickly through the station's corridors. The alarms continued to blare and aliens of all kinds rushed past them, too busy with their own duties to notice two humans heading the wrong way. "Do you think we can trust anything they told us?" Alan asked as they ducked into a maintenance tunnel to avoid a group of armed guards. "About the void?" "Yes," Jack replied. "You saw their faces, or whatever passes for faces among these aliens. That fear was real." Meanwhile, Olivia and Paula had reached the Arcturian section of the station. The halls here were dimmer, filled with a sweet-smelling mist that made the humans' eyes water slightly. "Kel?" Paula called softly at a doorway marked with swirling symbols. "Are you there? We need your help." The door slid open, and Kel peered out cautiously. "You should not be here. The Scourge ships have been detected. Everyone is preparing for possible attack." "We know," Olivia said. "But we need more information about the void before we leave, and we wanted to offer you passage on our ship." Kel's large eyes blinked rapidly. "Leave? You cannot leave. The Council will not permit it." "We're going to try anyway," Paula said. "The Council planned to use us, to use Earth, without giving us a choice. We need to warn our people, prepare them." Kel seemed to consider this, then nodded. "I will help you. Come inside, quickly." Inside Kel's quarters, the small alien activated a glowing panel on the wall. "I am a data keeper for the Arcturian delegation. We have studied the void longer than most council races." Images appeared on the wall. Star charts, strange readings, and pictures of what looked like empty space, except there was something wrong about the emptiness. It seemed deeper, more absolute than normal space. "The void is not alive in the way we understand life," Kel explained. "It does not eat or breathe. It simply removes. Matter, energy, information, all are absorbed into it." "Can it be destroyed?" Olivia asked. "Not destroyed, no, but perhaps redirected or contained." Kel touched the panel again, bringing up new images. "The void communicates somehow. It coordinates its parts. If that communication could be disrupted," Paula studied the data. "Like a hive mind? If we could block the signals between parts?" "Exactly," Kel said. "The Arcturians have been working on a theory, but the Council would not listen. They preferred the idea of fighting the Scourge using your human soldiers as their main force." Olivia downloaded the data to her tablet. "This could help us, Kel. Will you come with us to Earth?" Kel's skin glowed brighter with emotion. Yes. My people will understand. The Council's plan is wrong. All species should work together against the void, not use others as sacrifices." As they prepared to leave, they heard a loud crash from the corridor outside. The door slid open and a large armored figure stood there. It wasn't one of the Council races they had seen before. This being was massive, with thick plating covering its body, and multiple eyes set in a face that looked both insect-like and reptilian. "Scourge," Kel cried, backing away in fear. The being raised a clawed hand. "Stop, no harm." Its voice was rough, as if it rarely spoke. "Need talk. Humans." Paula stepped forward cautiously. "You can speak our language?" "Learn fast," the being said. "Drac Commander, need humans' help." "You're a Scourge commander?" Olivia asked in disbelief. "How did you get on the station?" "Small ship, emergency dock, Council not know yet." "Drax." Multiple eyes blinked in sequence. "No time, void comes, must talk to human leaders." In the docking bay, Jack and Alan had reached the USS Horizon. Captain Lloyd met them at the airlock, looking tense. "Colonel Ambassador, glad to see you," Lloyd said. "The situation is getting strange out there. Several Council ships have moved to block our exit, but they're also clearly preparing for battle with something else." "The Scourge fleet," Jack explained. "They've arrived earlier than expected. But there's something bigger going on, Captain. There's another threat called the Void that both the Council and the Scourge are running from." Alan's communicator beeped. "It's Paula," he said, answering it. "Where are you?" "We need to leave soon." Alan, you're not going to believe this. Paula's voice came through sounding both excited and nervous. We've made contact with a Scourge commander. He wants to talk. Says he needs human help. That could be a trap, Jack warned. I don't think so, Paula replied. He came alone in a small ship, and he seems desperate. Bring him to the horizon, Alan decided after a moment. But be careful. 20 minutes later, Paula and Olivia arrived with Kel and the massive Scourge commander. The human crew of the Horizon stared in shock at the armored alien, hands hovering near their weapons. It's okay, Olivia assured them. He's here to talk. In the ship's conference room, Drac told his story. The Scourge had not started as warriors. They had been scholars and builders once, with a peaceful civilization spanning 3 star systems. Then the Void had appeared at the edge of their territory. Void consume all, Drac said, his clawed hands making sharp gestures in the air. We run. Try warn others. Council ships attack us, think we invaders. Many die. Both sides. A misunderstanding that cost millions of lives, Alan said grimly. Drac nodded, his armored plates clicking together. Yes, now Void follows. Close. Too close. Need help. Why come to us? Jack asked. The Council has more advanced technology. Council think like machines. Logical. Predictable. Drac's eyes focused on Jack. Humans different. See patterns. Adapt. Create new ways. That's what the Council said too, Paula noted. They wanted to use us as soldiers. Not soldiers, Drac corrected. Thinkers. Need human ideas. Void learns, adapts. Need minds that think differently. Before anyone could respond, the ship shook violently. Captain Lloyd rushed to the bridge and returned looking grim. The Council has locked tractor beams on us, he reported. They're preventing our departure, and 3 Scourge warships have just dropped out of faster-than-light travel very close to the station. Not mine, Drac said quickly. Different clan. Still think Council enemies. Suddenly, the main screen in the conference room activated. Zulthran's crystalline face appeared. Humans, you have a Scourge commander aboard your vessel, the Council speaker said. This confirms our fears about your species. You cannot be trusted. You're wrong, Alan replied firmly. We're trying to find a solution that doesn't involve using Earth as your personal army. The Scourge aren't our enemies, and they shouldn't be yours either. The real threat is the Void. It is too late for debate, Zulthran said coldly. The Council has voted. Your ship will remain docked. The Scourge fleet will be destroyed, and Earth will provide soldiers as required. The screen went dark. Jack turned to the others, his face set with determination. We need a new plan, he said. We have to convince both sides that fighting each other is suicide while the Void approaches, and we need to get word back to Earth. Olivia held up her tablet. I think I might have something. Kel gave us data on the Void's communication methods. If we could disrupt those signals. And I think I know how we might get both sides to listen, Paula added. But it's going to be dangerous. Drac's alien face was unreadable, but his next words were clear. Humans have plan. Good. Scourge follow human plan. Better than dying. As they began to work, the station shook with the first exchanges of fire between the Council ships and the approaching Scourge fleet. Time was running out. The plan came together quickly. They had no time for long debates or careful testing. Outside, the battle between Council ships and the Scourge fleet grew more intense. The station shook with each nearby explosion. First, we need to break free from the docking clamps and tractor beams, Jack said, looking at the station schematics Kel had provided. I can help with that, Drac offered. Scourge ships can send signal, disrupt power briefly. Captain Lloyd nodded. That might give us the window we need to break away. But what then? We're one ship caught between 2 fighting fleets. We broadcast, Paula said, to everyone. The Council, the Scourge, and most importantly, Earth. They need to know what's coming. Olivia was working with Kel on a different problem. The data about the Void's communication methods had given her an idea. If we can disrupt the signals that coordinate the void's parts, we might be able to slow it down, maybe even stop it. Need stronger transmitter, Drax said, looking at their design. Human ship too small. The station has a powerful transmitter. Array, Kel pointed out. It's how they communicate across the galaxy, Alan frowned. But we won't have access to that once we leave. Then we don't leave yet, Jack decided. We split up. Some of us stay to work on the void disruptor. The rest take the horizon back to Earth to prepare our defenses. It was a dangerous plan, but they had no better options. Alan would return to Earth with Captain Lloyd and half the crew. They would carry Kel's data and Drax's testimony about the true nature of the threat. Jack, Olivia, and Paula would remain on the station with Kel and Drax, working to build the signal disruptor that might be their only hope against the void. How do we get access to the transmitter array? Olivia asked. Leave that to me, Kelly said quietly. Not all on the council agree with Zulthron's methods. There are others who will help us. They moved quickly. Using emergency suits, Jack and Paula helped transfer Drax back to his small ship. The Scourge commander would contact his fleet and explain the situation, hoping to stop the attack. Meanwhile, Alan prepared to depart on the horizon. We'll need a distraction to break free, he told Jack. Drax is working on that, Jack replied. When the power fluctuates, be ready to move immediately. The two men clasped hands. Good luck, Alan said. Get that disruptor working. Earth is counting on you. Get home safe, Jack responded. Make sure our people are ready. 15 minutes later, the lights throughout the station flickered and dimmed. The docking clamps released, and the tractor beams failed. The Horizon's engines fired immediately, pushing the ship away from the station. Council security forces rushed into the docking bay, but they were too late. The human ship was already moving toward the edge of the battle zone, its engines glowing bright blue against the darkness of space. Now for our part, Olivia said as she, Jack, and Paula followed Kel through maintenance tunnels toward the center of the station. They reached a large door marked with warning symbols. Kel placed his hand on a scanner, and to their surprise, the door slid open. I told you there were others who would help, the small alien said with what might have been a smile. Inside was the transmission control center. Two aliens were waiting for them. One, a being like Zulthron but smaller with pink-tinted crystal skin. The other was the gray, multi-eyed council member they had seen earlier. I am Tal Ren, daughter of Zulthron, the crystal being said. My father is wrong about humans, and about how to fight the void. I am Mox, the gray alien added. We have monitored your work on the disruptor. It matches our own theories. We will help you. Together, they began connecting Olivia's device to the station's powerful transmitters. The work was delicate and complex, combining human ingenuity with alien technology. Outside, the battle had taken a strange turn. Many of the Scourge ships had stopped firing. Drax's message was getting through to some of them at least. Just as they finished the final connections, the door slid open again. Vexmore stood there with a dozen armed guards. Traitors, the reptilian hissed. All of you. Vexmore, listen, Jack began, stepping forward with his hands raised. The void is the real enemy. We need to work together. There will be no working together, Vexmore snarled. The council has ruled. The Scourge must be destroyed. Humans must be controlled. Order must be maintained. Even if it means death for all of us, Paula asked. The void won't care about your precious order. Before Vexmore could respond, a new alarm sounded, different from the battle alerts they had been hearing. This sound was deeper, vibrating through the station's structure. Talrin looked at a display, her crystal body flashing with fear. It's here. The void has been detected at the edge of the system. The display showed what looked like a shadow moving against the stars. Where it passed, sensors registered nothing. No light, no radiation, no matter, just emptiness. Now do you understand? Jack asked Vexmore. This is what we're all facing. The reptilian's scales seemed to pale. For the first time, he looked uncertain. We need to activate the disruptor now, Olivia said urgently. Before it gets any closer. Vexmore hesitated, then slowly lowered his weapon. Do it. Olivia activated the device. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the station's lights dimmed as massive power was diverted to the transmitters. A beam of energy, invisible to the naked eye but brilliant on their instruments, shot out from the station toward the approaching darkness. Where it struck the void, something strange happened. The perfect blackness seemed to fracture, breaking into smaller pieces that drifted apart. It's working, Mock said, watching the sensors. The void's parts are losing cohesion. But not for long, Olivia warned. The effect is temporary. We need something stronger, more permanent. At that moment, a message came through on all channels. It was Drac, broadcasting to both the Council and Scourge fleets, all ships. See truth, void comes. Humans have weapon, need help. All ships send power to station. One by one, both Council and Scourge vessels began redirecting energy to the station's transmitters. The disruptor beam grew stronger. The void's fragments spread further apart, unable to reconnect. Zulthron arrived at the control center, moving quickly despite his large size. He looked at the displays, then at his daughter. You were right, he said quietly. I was blinded by fear and old thinking. The human way, adaptation, cooperation, this is how we will survive. 6 months later, Admiral Susan Wright stood at a podium on Earth, addressing representatives from 17 Council worlds and 4 Scourge clans. Behind her was a monument to those lost in what was now called the Void War. Today we formalize what began in crisis, she said, a true alliance of equals, each race bringing their unique strengths. The Void remains a threat, but it is contained, studied, and thanks to our combined efforts, no longer the end of all things. Jack, Olivia, and Paula sat in the front row. Alan stood nearby, now Earth's official ambassador to the new Galactic Alliance. Not bad for a species that was only invited because of our talent for warfare, Jack whispered to his friends. Turns out our real talent was bringing people together, Paula replied with a smile. Even when the sounds of war were right behind us, Olivia added. As Admiral Wright continued her speech, a ship passed overhead, a new design that combined Council technology with human innovation and Scourge resilience. Its name was painted proudly on the hull, Peace Through Understanding. The galaxy was still a dangerous place, but now, for the first time, its diverse peoples faced that danger, united.